I'm James Matthews-Paul here for Output TV once again, and I'm very happy to have an unexpected interview with Mr. Guy Gecht, Chief Executive of EFI. Guy, it's great of you to make the time. It's just a flying visit for you, isn't it?
It's just a flying visit. Glad to be back in Fespa. It's such an exciting show.
And so why are you here today? Is it just because you couldn't miss Fespa this year, or what is it?
Why am I here today? Did my team ask you to ask me that? Because they asked me the same question. Look, I love Fespa. Very energetic show. A lot of customers are looking to understand what's next as far as inkjet, as far as technology. I come here and I get upbeat with what customers are telling me. So it's for my morale boost. I show up to Fespa.
I don't blame you. I mean, it is a great looking show. It always feels very good.
Yeah.
And are you pleased to see it having the kind of prominence it does in the market now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's really encouraging is talking to tons of customers, which I talked to today, and their business is doing well. They're looking for more applications. When they get into more applications, in many cases, they see growth. When they add value to print, they see growth. When they become more competitive, they see better results, which was always our theory that standing still is not an option. And if you think about what's good for your business, invest in that direction, there's a very good chance you're actually going to be ahead and not going to be victim of whatever other things is happening in the world.
Now, speaking of growth and speaking of intelligent acquisition and that kind of thing, you've set a very ambitious growth target for EFI. You're talking about a $1 billion turnover figure for 2016. Are we on track towards that?
Is 2016 next year?
It is.
Oh
yeah.
my God, it's coming.
I know.
No, I think we're on track. A few things need to happen. We need to continue the growth we had, and we feel pretty good on where we are today. And what I'm hearing from customers is definitely very encouraging. And obviously, we need to supplement, as always was our strategy, supplement organic growth with acquisitions. Our M&A people are super busy, so I'm hoping that between now to 2016, we'll have more announcement and both will help us to definitely get a shot at this aggressive goal.
And what do you think the major growth sectors are in terms of your print segments? Is it coming from workflows? Is it coming from wide format? From digital labels? What do you think are the real areas that are going to help you get to that target?
When we started the year, we told our investors that in 2015, we expect every single one of our major product line to grow. So we're seeing growth everywhere. Actually, and that's a good, whether it's label, whether it's packaging, whether it's signage. The fire is on fire. If you look at our results, we had 2 years of double-digit growth, and we had 10% in the first quarter. A lot of customers now looking very seriously before they buy a press, what would be the front end? Something that before that maybe they didn't pay enough attention, and the differences are so big between fire and the alternatives that we're getting a lot of the decision now. So fire is very strong, inkjet is very strong, productivity software is strong, and so we're happy with all of that. And that's why I say we feel like we're on track on our very aggressive goal to hit $1 billion next year.
And it's also, that's coming a lot from partnerships, isn't it, as
yes.
you described. Now, obviously, EFI, we're expecting you to have a very big presence at drupa 2016. Just as a quick aside, how do you feel about drupa changing from the 4-year cycle to the 3-year cycle?
So, I don't know enough about the topic to have a very informative answer. I would say, I think the system is working for drupa now every 4 years. I'm not sure I would change it. Maybe it's a little longer than it should be, maybe get shorter. We got to be also a little bit more careful about, is this going to cause a company like EFI and maybe smaller companies that have less budget to spend more money on trade shows and then pull back on other investment in R&D or service, because they were only going to spend X amount, we have X amount of pie to spend. So we got to be very thoughtful about that when we change things at trade shows. So if it's not going to cause more spending, maybe it's not so bad. But I like the drupa thing every 4 years. It's like Olympic Games. You show up every 4 years. You think about the longer term. When you go into this, you show more strategic investment versus what we show in the yearly shows.
And what do you think are going to be the key themes at drupa when we come there next year? Obviously, we've seen huge digitization in the market. You know from Fiery that we're seeing much more workflow adoption in places we haven't seen it before. But from your perspective, what do you think are going to be the key trends at drupa 2016?
I think that we're going to see the continuation of what we hear, and we start to see the last drupa. It's going to be a lot of inkjet. Going to be a high speed expansion of printing beyond the normal traditional printing, obviously packaging, printing on any materials. You're going to hear a lot about efficiency and being competitive. I think we're going to see a lot less buzz and more content, more application. This is what you can do. This is an application that you can apply your printing and manufacturing capability toward, and there's a growth in digital printing there.
I'm quite enjoying taking the focus away from feeds and speeds and that kind of technology thing and really bringing it back to what we can produce. And we were talking earlier when we ran into each other about how we bring new blood into the sector.
Right.
Now, do we need to be reaching out into different areas outside the classic print remit and telling them more about what we can do with the printing process?
I agree with you 100%. I think the problem is more in Europe than in the US. We have a lot more younger generation, but even in the US we're not super happy, not seeing enough younger people coming to the industry. And I think part of it is we got to change our attitude about print. Print is exciting. Print is a technology field, and it's an area where the creativity and relationship play a lot of big game, and young people look for that. And so if we, instead of thinking about ourselves as an old industry that suffer with the change to digital, it's actually an industry that thrive on digital, and technology is what actually allow us to transform and grow. I think you'll see a lot more younger people coming in.
I really hope so too, and I think that that's going to rely on us creating educational initiatives, coming together as an industry. It's been a little bit segmented before, hasn't it?
Yes.
Speaking, I mean, obviously, we're seeing more agglomeration. We're seeing more different parties coming together, and it wouldn't be an interview with you, Guy, if I didn't ask you my standard question, which is what kind of acquisitions are we likely to see in the next year? I mean, I've got some theories. I think that there's some kind of marriage maybe between EFI and something in the textile space possibly, but are you going to let me know this time where you're planning to?
No, I knew you were going to ask, and I brought my list again.
Can I?
It's a new list. It's not the same list as last time. You know what, I can't really tell you about the sadness, but the good news, I'm hearing the speculations actually here. What I like about the company, we keep secrets pretty well, and essentially 97% of the speculation are just completely off, which is good. And I'm not going to tell you which 3% are right.
Well, I hope that I've got my speculation right, but it's just good to be creating chatter about the market, to have things to look up to. And is there anything else you'd like to say to the Output readership before I have to let you go and probably take your flight straight back?
No. Flight is tomorrow morning, early, unfortunately. But I tell you, I think that being optimistic, looking for the growth versus also looking where we're going to lose. Don't play defense, play offense. That's the only way to grow. That's the only way to win in games. And if you do that, talk to all those people that I talked to today. They're all saying pretty good paths ahead. They also see a path to grow and having an healthy business.
That's brilliant. Guy, thank you so much for your time. It's great to talk to you on behalf of Output TV, and have a safe flight back, and see you very soon.
James, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. I'm going to get that list up for you.
Okay, for sure.